Transgender athlete Hannah Mouncey is stuck in AFL limbo while she waits for the game's governing body to give her written approval to play in amateur competitions. Mouncey's pleas to the AFL to clear the way for her to play in Canberra or Melbourne appear to have fallen on deaf ears as officials drag their feet with paperwork. But the strong-willed 28-year-old is determined to take the next step in her Australian football development, despite the AFL rejecting her bid to play in the national women's competition. The AFL ruled Mouncey would become too big and too strong if she joined a semi-professional program, but said she would be eligible to play for Ainslie or in other local competitions. The only problem is the AFL has stalled in its approval process and AFL New South Wales Act are waiting for confirmation from head office to give Mouncey permission to play. The situation has created confusion for Mouncey, who is considering a move to Melbourne and to play in the AFL Victoria competitions. In reality, it's more than just me. It would be good to know if all transgender players currently playing AFL around the country will be allowed to play next year, Mouncey said. An AFL New South Wales Act spokesperson confirmed the organisation was still waiting to be contacted by head office to discuss the situation. The AFL did not return calls on Tuesday. Mouncey hopes her journey will break down barriers for fellow transgender athletes and will release a book, Folkaja, before the end of the year to detail her rollercoaster experiences. Her desire to play Australian football has never wavered, despite social media trolls and the AFL appearing to be trying to avoid her presence. The AFL cited the Victorian Equal Opportunity and Human Rights Commission's guidelines on trans and gender diverse inclusion in sport when banning Mouncey from the draft in October. The subcommittee carefully considered all of the information provided by Hannah, as well as the available data on transgender strength, stamina, physique along with the specific nature of the AFLW competition, the AFL's statement said. Ms. Mouncey may nominate for future AFLW drafts and for registration in other Australian football competitions. But despite Mouncey's repeated requests for clarification, she remains unsure if the AFL will give her the clearance she needs to play in Canberra next year. AFL Canberra and AFL New South Wales Act officials want an confirmation from the AFL, rather than information in the media, that Mouncey is free to play. The initial ruling was bizarre given semi-professional players are more likely to be able to compete with Mouncey, a 190 cm and 100 kg ruck instead of amateurs. Been trying to get a simple confirmation, something official and not through media, from the AFL about my ability to play local football for nearly 2 months now, Mouncey said on social media. Very difficult to get a straight answer or calls returned. So far all I've been told is that despite what was said at the time of the announcement, they don't actually have the ability to rule on local football. All very confusing.